All right. Hello, everyone, and happy Friday. Boy, oh boy, the markets have been on absolute fire this week since the election, and you would not believe the technicals that I have on here for you. SPY, QQQ, IWM. We'll talk about each of those and what could happen on this here Friday, especially in light of what we just heard from Jerome Powell yesterday. We're going to talk about that as we show the technicals and talk about what the implications could be for, well, between now and the next Fed meeting that we have. It looks like it's going to be a fairly green end of 2025 as long as the economic reports play nicely, geopolitical catalysts out there, as long as they stay subdued, we could be in pretty good shape for the end of this year. This could be a very bright Q4. So we'll pop that up there. Also, Nvidia and Tesla, huge news for them, for their stock prices. Wait until you see what I have in the pre-market hours to show you. And then Bitcoin, still, man, oh man, it's hanging tough like, what was that band back in the early 90s or maybe even late 80s? New Kids on the Block? Maybe it's tougher than that. We'll see. So let's put up the charts on this one. By the way, if you guys want to see these charts before they hit YouTube, if you guys want to see the technicals, if you want to see my buys that I put out there, you can do so using the link down in the description for Patreon. I'll tell you more about that later. And then also about doing the technical analysis yourself and learning how to do trading based on those technicals through especially the bread recipe. I'll tell you more about that too. Link down in the description for Stockmo Academy. More on that later. For right now, into the technicals. Now, I said I would leave the rising wedge up pattern on here that we actually had play out in a way. So we actually did see that take place. It did move for us, but I said I wanted to leave them on because those trend lines that we would see could still serve as resistance for us. And look what we got yesterday with the S&P, this bottom part of the rising wedge pattern. I said that could still be resistance, and that's exactly where we got rejected. We did close above the other one, though. That's a very strong thing for us in the pre-market hours around yesterday's close. Today, being Friday, there could be some profit taking after I think about 4.5% from the close on Monday to the close yesterday. Now, mind you, Powell came out fairly dovish yesterday and talked about, well, the economy is very strong. Next year could be very great for us. And then, so far the market seems to be buying it. And so we'll see if that keeps on being the case. And also, with the, like I said, the pressure of the election being off of things and, typically speaking, without that uncertainty there, we have a lot of green lights in front of us. There's a lot of levity in the markets right now that you're actually seeing somewhat of a certain path. And so we're heading up that way. So northward should be that slow, steady march that we make. And we do need to watch the upside around that 610 number if we can break up here above that 600. So 600 is going to be a pretty strong rejection for us most likely if we can get up that high. And if we get even up above there, 610 should be that next number that you really start to look at. And I have those numbers on here for you, actually 609.83. Let me change that over to green from red. Boom, there we go. And then these prices down here should also be red. Let me change those over. And boom, there we go, because they would be prices to the downside. And I sometimes, as I do these chartings that I have, the resistances I put in red because that's where we could see the prices stop going up like a stoplight. And then the green lights down here would be where we could go ahead and catch on to that support and then bounce back up. So those would be positive things in a bullish direction, negative things in a bullish direction, and then the prices accordingly to those long type plays. So let's move from there into the Qs, see what the Qs are showing us. And I said that we would have, again, look at the rising wedge pattern from Wednesday that we got back into it. That's why I left the lines on there, and you can see both support and resistance play out beautifully, confirming why I had those on there in the first place. And then the area of resistance up to the top side here, I said that down at the bottom of this, right around 510, we would find some resistance, and that we could look intraday to see if we actually had any rejection along there. But there's a very important resistance in here, a whole number Fibonacci value of 513.90, and we actually did peekaboo up above that, just a little, about 43 cents up above that yesterday, and then closed back down from there at 513.14. So we'll see if that serves as a ceiling. Today, right now, we're probably going to look for floor. If we find floor and it happens to be at one of these critical values, whichever stock, whichever ETF it is that we're looking at, finding that floor is going to be a good thing, allowing us for that next launching point to take place. So just out of curiosity here, let's go to a 15-minute chart on this and see if we got any sort. Yeah, look at that right there. If you take a look during those regular trading hours, we struggled right at that 510 mark and got over a little bit and then rode along it and couldn't get above support. And then finally we got that next rip up to that 510 number. We were able to you can see that resistance that we got peekabooed up above in the pre-market hours, and then settling back down just a little bit. Looks like there could be another support line in there that I don't have drawn on, but that's why this is an area of resistance that you see up in here. So moving over to IWM, what does that look like? So let's zoom in on this thing so you can really see those candles well up above the rising wedge pattern, way up here. And look at that, we couldn't quite hold on to up here this resistance at that 236-ish level, 236, almost 237. We even peekabooed up above both resistances and ended up closing down below them. And I mean, we have a significant gap up when we look at the Russell 2000 stocks. And, you know, we might fill that gap. Honestly, I think that Russell 2000, the IWM ETF that tracks it, this could be something where we look for where exactly that floor comes in. And if we can't get up above these, if we get rejected again off of these resistance values in a ceiling type way, well, then we could be looking even further down for a floor from there, looking for that next launching point. But that rampant volume that we got on Wednesday trading, excellent. We'll happen to see, you know, where that euphoria happens to land us. And it would be nice to see the rate cuts continue from the Fed for this, and then also inflation continue to cool. That would be another thing that we're looking for that could be a very positive catalyst. So the longer that we get shown that the inflation is actually being tampered down, and that the temporary spike that we got really does prove to be temporary. Jerome Powell was talking about that yesterday as well, saying that overall inflation continues its downward path. And then we saw some lagging effects that boosted inflation numbers just a little bit recently. They should go away as these months continue. So we'll look and see if he's right. And inflation going down, Fed funds rate going down, those are things that are going to be boons to the price that we see for the Russell 2000 stocks and the ETF here, IWM, that's tracking the Russell 2000 index. So over to Nvidia. I have the hourly chart on here for you. And this white line is 150 exactly. I put this on here because if you look at the pre-market, we got within 5 cents of that. And I thought prior to earnings, I thought it'd be kind of tough to pass that 150. And, you know, pre-market says so, but pre-market's low volume. Honestly, today we could cross over that, and it could show that, that I was wrong about my assessment for that. Now, let me put this back on here for you so you can see some of the lines that I have in that run. So you can screenshot these prices here for Nvidia to the upside or downside, whether we're looking at resistances or support. And this 148.72 is in blue because that's about where we closed at yesterday. So yesterday's close 148.88, and we have support from that close about here. And the pre-market hours are sort of dancing around that line right now. If we're able to cross back above it, most likely we can take that 150. We're going to retest it, and if we can break it, then we have about another $4 on top of that to the next resistance that's up above. And you can see the climb through the 150 is a little bit mired, but if we can get up above 159, we got a $7 jump then to get up to 166. And, you know, we might have that run up to earnings if the market's going to continue to be strong, if the market's going to rally. Nvidia is probably going to move right along with it, you know, maybe a little bit more cautiously giving its elevated stock price right now. But, you know, we'll see. I said from the last stock price prediction and earnings projection, 150 was one of the numbers in there. About 152, I think the number was. I'm going to have to go back and pull that and have that prepared for you guys and talk about that adjustment. By the way, if you guys want to see that adjustment as it comes out, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I'll put out my NVIDIA stock price prediction and NVIDIA earnings projection. I'm hoping to do it this weekend. I got those numbers cranking out for you, and I can't wait to bring them to YouTube. I will put out the full technical analysis, stock price prediction. As a matter of fact, I already have this chart available over at the Discord. It's already been there. It's been there for hours by the time you see this video, most likely. And so if you guys want to see that, that way it's up and available for you as soon as possible, and you can react to it if you're going to. You know, if it helps you to make the decisions that you're going to make, then so be it. If you guys want access to that Discord and the technicals and the stocks that I'm buying, the ETFs that I'm buying, you can see it using the link for the Patreon down in the description. Click it, sign up, and head on over to the Discord. That's where you'll find everything, including me and my community members. And then also down in the description, if you want to learn to do this technical analysis yourself and get access to the Bread Recipes trading strategy, Stockmo, a close personal friend of mine, one of my best friends in the whole entire world, has come up with a wonderful course. He and Mrs. Mo, his wife, have come up with a course, both being educational professionals, and man, they are at the top of their game with this course. It is absolutely pristine the way that the pieces are. I mean, everything's laid out, small, easy to digest pieces of information with a learning community going along with it, and a trading strategy that is so straightforward and so plain, but yet so darn effective. They walk you through the exact setup, tell you exactly how to do it, what to look for, and you can go and ask questions in that learning community as well. That link for Stockmo Academy is down in the description. If that sounds of interest to you, make sure that you use the code word DOCTOR, D-O-C-T-O-R, when you sign up, and that's going to give you a massive discount on that. All right, guys, back to the technicals on this. So let's go over from Nvidia over to Tesla. Boop, there we go. Take care of that issue. And once again, the hourly chart here, and we got it within 5 cents of that round number. So it was 149.95 for Nvidia. It's 299.95 for Tesla during those pre-market hours, and just not quite getting over that yesterday during the regular trading hours, 299.75. So we almost crossed back over in that $300 threshold. Now, mind you, I think Tesla can do it during that run. I really want to see this support here hold, which actually, now that we had a close above that, I'm actually going to change that from red over to green, so that way we identify it as support. There you go, live update for you on this video. And you can see this white line, that's that round number 300, but the next line that we have up above that for resistance is 303.56. The big one is this 50% Fibonacci value of 307.84. So if this support can hold today, man, I think we got our rocket ship. It's not just SpaceX, it's also Tesla stock that can really start setting us up and start giving us that strong move upward from here, especially if the market is going to continue to rally from here. And we have a lot of green lights that we didn't have before, a lot of uncertainties being cleared up, or a lot of fears temporarily allayed that the Fed isn't going to be quickly reactive, that they're going to be slow and steady about the way that they respond to things. So Jerome Powell coming out yesterday and saying that there isn't as much to worry about, and that the Fed is going to have the slow considerations to things. They don't feel as though they need to rush. So kind of talking the market down and talking people down from any sort of emergency actions. You know, regardless if that's a true reflection of the economy or of the markets or where anything should be, he spoke in a really dovish way. The pressure of the election's off for right now. Geopolitical tensions, there's nothing really new that isn't already known about so far. So black swans aside, exogenous events aside, we're in decent shape for the moment. Guys, like I said about those technicals, you want to see them before they hit YouTube, check out the link for the Patreon down in the description. Head on over to the Discord. We'd love to see you over there. Learn to do this technical analysis yourself and get access to the bread recipe trading strategy. You've never seen something so clean and easy to set up, but yet so effective at identifying places where you could potentially have buy orders, sell orders. Even though it doesn't tell you to do it, it can still throw out those signals that are out there, and you can learn to look for them yourselves. Make sure you use the code word DOCTOR when you sign up for that Stockmo Academy course. It's going to save you a ton of cash. Thank you very much for watching. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Remember, my friends, that learning is earning. We'll see you next video.